Hello, everybody. It is Jamie again, back with Genesis 32. We are preparing to meet Esau. Jacob is traveling from Padamaran with where he was living with Laban, and he worked those 14 years for Rachel and for Leah, and then another 6 years for the flocks. So he was there 20 years. Now he's traveling back home to his father Isaac's home, and he knows he's going to see Esau, who, last he heard, wants to kill him. So this is what he is thinking. Esau is going to kill him when he sees him. All right. So we'll go right ahead and jump into the word. Jacob went on his way, and God's angels met him. When he saw them, Jacob said, "This is God's camp." So he called that place Mahanaim. Jacob sent messengers ahead of him to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, the territory of Edom. He commanded them, "You are to say to my lord Esau, 'This is what your servant Jacob says. I have been staying with Laban and have been delayed until now. I have oxen, donkeys, flocks, and male and female slaves. I have sent this message to inform my lord in order to seek your favor." So he is telling his messenger that he's going to send ahead. This is what you are to say to my brother, okay? When the messenger returned to Jacob, they said, "We went to your brother Esau. He is coming to meet you, and he has 400 men with him." Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed. He divided the people with him into two camps, along with the flocks, herds, and camels. He thought, if Esau comes to one camp and attacks it, the remaining one can escape. Now, do you see how calculating his brain works? I'm not saying it wasn't smart, but I mean, you're okay. Well, we're going to keep one group alive at least, so let's split them. And it's interesting the way he splits them and who he puts first. To me, I find it interesting. So let's see. Then Jacob said, "God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, the Lord who said to me, 'Go back to your land and to your family, and I will cause you to prosper.' I am unworthy of all the kindness and faithfulness you have shown your servant. Indeed, I crossed over the Jordan with my staff, and now I have become two camps. Please rescue me from my brother Esau, for I am afraid of him. Otherwise he may come and attack me, the mothers, and their children. You have said, 'I will cause you to prosper, and I will make your offspring like the sand of the sea, too numerous to be counted.'" So this right here shows that he is a man of God now. Because the first thing he does when he hears from the messengers that yet his brother is coming to meet him with 400 other people, the first thing he does is he prays to God. And his prayer is reminding God, "You said go back to your land, to your family, and I'll cause you to prosper." And then he says, I am unworthy of all the kindness and faithfulness you have shown your servant." The humility is there. The prayer is there. He's reminding God, "This is what you told me to do. I'm obeying. I know I'm not worthy." And now he's telling God that he's made the two camps, and why he's made the two camps, because he's afraid. He's being honest. All these things are good. All of that is great. That shows the growth of his relationship with the Lord. Please rescue me, he's asking. I'm afraid of him. And he reminds him again that you said, I will cause you to prosper, and I will make your offspring like the sand of the sea, too numerous to be counted. I believe it's okay to remind the Lord what he spoke to your heart. He knows. He didn't forget. But it's a way of showing him that you didn't forget either, and that you're expecting it, and that you take it with heaviness. You're not just poo-pooing it and saying, oh, well, God didn't do that. You definitely are in expectation of what the Lord spoke to your heart and what he promised you. And the Lord comes through on his promises always. So it's not a matter of the Lord, whether he's going to come through and whether he knows his promise. It's really for ourselves to say, yeah, we remember the promise, Lord. We're expecting the promise, and it means everything to us. We're waiting. We're waiting. So there is nothing wrong with that. Wherever you are and whatever you're waiting for and praying for, you can remind the Lord. And it will build your faith in your expectation and knowing that you are communicating that to the Lord. Because sometimes we just need to do that for ourselves, to know that we are Lord, and reminding him, not telling him, but reminding him, this is the promise, Lord. It just kind of soothes our hearts knowing that we said that, So there's nothing wrong. His prayer is good. His growth, you can see that he has definitely grown in his walk. But then let's see, he spent the night. Moving on, this is verse 13. He spent the night there and took part of what he had brought with him as a gift for his brother Esau, 200 female goats, 20 male goats, 200 ewes, 20 rams, 30 milk camels with their young, 40 cows, 10 bulls, 20 male donkeys, and 10 male donkeys. He entrusted them to his slaves as separate herds and said to them, go on ahead of me and leave some distance between the herds. So he's got an extra little cushion too, for that he can negotiate with his brother with. And he told the first one, when my brother Esau meets you and asks, who do you belong to? Where are you going, and whose animals are these ahead of you? Then tell him, they belong to your servant Jacob. They are a gift sent to my lord Esau. And look, he is behind us. He also told the second one, the third, and everyone who was walking behind the animals, say the same thing to Esau when you find him. You are also to say, look, your servant Jacob is right behind us. For he thought, I want to appease Esau with the gift that is going ahead of me. After that, I can face him, and perhaps he will forgive me. He's doing the little appeasing, let's give gifts first, cushion the blow. Maybe he will forget he wants to kill me and sees all this wealth that my brother is giving to me now. I mean, is that wrong? He's fearing for his life, and he's at least giving gifts to his brother. I don't think it's really wrong, but he is, there's a motive there. He doesn't want to die. So this is showing spiritual maturity, even in the fact that he is sending gifts ahead. But the main thing that shows the great spiritual maturity is the fact that when he first heard back that from his servants that his brother was coming to meet him with a giant crew of people, he fell down and prayed to the Lord immediately. So that's number one, and that's what we have to do, and I have to remind myself, we all do, that whenever we get stressed, instead of going into our head and trying to figure it out on our own, go to the Lord. Go straight to the Lord. Talk to Him about it. Just flesh it out with Him. Pray to Him. Say, this is on my heart, Lord. I don't know what's happening. Today I had a normally I get up in the morning and I pray for a little while. I have my time, and I've made that a habit. And even when I was working, that was a habit that I had. I made time for the Lord before my day started. And this morning, even though I had the time, I didn't spend as much time with the Lord. And I'm trying to think, well, I got distracted by something. And I said to myself, well, I'll go back and I will have my time with the Lord. And I went on and did some errands and stuff. And the whole day I felt this almost oppression, kind of attack on me. I started, your mind starts to go. And I started getting some thoughts in my head about things that are, happening, and started to get a little down about it and thinking, what's next? What's going on here? What's next? I know I'm not being very transparent, but just let's see. How can I be more transparent? I started thinking about, okay, I'll be vulnerable, Lord. The Lord's telling me to be vulnerable. I had a thought of, I'm here. I choose to be, well, I am here helping my Father. That is something I have to do. But I choose to not really have a relationship right now and just focus on that and focus on God and mainly, and my family, growing, becoming a healthier Jamie, and just without that prayer this morning, I had, like I said, I prayed. I did pray, but it wasn't for as long as I normally do. And that shortened time, because usually I go walk 5 miles too, and I pray during that. I did not do that today. I had a shortened workout too, and I felt the difference. So prayer is definitely evidence of spiritual maturity, even when you are growing a lot and you pray a lot. Sometimes when things go wrong in life, your day could be going, everything you've prayed, everything's going fine. You did your morning prayers and you get some bad news or something happens. The first thing that I would naturally want to do is, how am I going to fix this? And I would start thinking on my own, I'm going to fix this way, A, B, C, D. This is what I need to do. Do I need to make this call? How do I do this? When the first thing that I should always do is drop everything and pray. Pray. That's the first thing that we all need to do when trouble hits. Take that time to pray and give it to God, lean on Him and say, this is what I'm dealing with. He knows already everything that you're dealing with. He knows every detail that you're going through and every hurt. And He's working always. But that relationship that you form when you go immediately to Him, showing your dependence on Him, and saying, God, it just happened just now. How do I proceed? You ask His guidance, and, you pray and ask for Him to have everything turn out okay, whatever you're going through. But even now, as much as my prayer life has grown, I still, and I pray a lot. I pray a lot, but it's the times when I get like something happens and it's like I go into a mode of action. My mode is to just immediately go right into the storm and try and fix whatever I need to fix. That's a problem how I grew up. That's just kind of a um, survival skills that I learned growing up, and shedding that, it's good in some situations. It's a good thing to have, like some emergencies and panicking, and one of I've done the Heimlich before on somebody. Like I can jump in. I know I can. That is something that just comes very natural for me. But what I should do, of course, if it's an emergency situation, Heimlich's not a good, doing a Heimlich on somebody. I'm not going to stop and say, Lord, while somebody's choking. You have to jump into action. That's not a good example. But, if I got a phone call and something happened, the first thing I should do, and I should, and even if I should pray, and even if I were to jump into helping someone, like if they were choking or doing the Heimlich, I should say a little breath prayer to the Lord. Lord, please, even if it's just Jesus, help me. Jesus, help me right now, Jesus. That's all you need to do is just engage with him, to let him know, I'm here, you're here, help me. I'm right here with you. I need your help. I know you're here. We have a relationship. I depend on you. I love you. You're here in it with me. I know you are in every little thing that I go through. So that's what Jacob was demonstrating right there. And he did it immediately. And that is something that really is speaking to me right now, obviously, because as much as, I'm on prayer team, I'm on intercessory team, as much as I pray, when a traumatic event or something that's an emergency or troubling or something happens, I'm going to jump into action instead of, and then I'll pray eventually, but I should pray first. It should be the first thing that we should all do is pray. So I'll work on that. And I think, it's just a good reminder to stop and pray before we proceed with anything, regardless of how rich your prayer life is, regardless of how covered you've already been in prayers, at that moment. He wants to know that, God wants to know that you know that he is there for you through everything. All right. I want to appease Esau with the gift that is going ahead of me. After that, I can face him, and perhaps he will forgive me. So the gift was sent on ahead of him while he remained in the camp that night. During the night, Jacob got up and took his 2 wives, his 2 slave women, and his 11 sons, and crossed the ford of Jabbok. He took them and sent them across the stream along with all his possessions. Verse 24. Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until daybreak. When the man saw that he could not defeat him, he struck Jacob's hip socket as they wrestled and dislocated his hip. Then he said to Jacob, "Let me go, for it is daybreak." But Jacob said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." "What is your name?" the man asked Jacob. Jacob, he replied. "Your name will no longer be Jacob," he said. "It will be Israel, because you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed." Then Jacob asked him, "Please tell me your name." But he answered, "Why do you ask my name?" And he blessed him there. Jacob then named the place Peniel, For I have seen God face to face. He said, yet my life has been spared. The sun shone on him as he passed by Peniel, limping because of his hip. That is why still today the Israelites don't eat the thigh muscle that is at the hip socket, because he struck Jacob's hip socket at the thigh muscle. So Jacob goes to sleep, and a man comes, which is the incarnate Jesus, we find out later, that wrestles with Jacob. And when you think of wrestling, wrestling is a different type of fighting. I mean, you're getting in there, you're grappling, you are really close contact, wrestling, and every little move that you make in a wrestle is strategic, and it's hard, and it takes time. It's a tough sport. So here Jacob is wrestling with the living God, Jesus, incarnate as the angel of the Lord. And, Jacob, we get to when the man saw the man, which is Jesus, God, when he saw he could not defeat him, he struck Jacob's hip socket as they wrestled and dislocated his hip. Some other translations, it says he touched his hip socket. So it says that when he saw he could not defeat him. Well, you break it down in Hebrew, God can defeat him. And all he had to do was touch his hip, and he dislocated it, and he changed his walk. The thing was, Jacob was determined. Some people have a will in them that will not give up, and that was Jacob. Back to the NIV. That's the first translation I ever had any studies with, and I really do love the NIV. Yes, it is the NIV. When the man saw that he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip, so that his hip was wrenched as he wrestled the man. Then the man said, let me go, for it is daybreak. But Jacob replied, I will not let you go unless you bless me. All he had to do was touch it. He wasn't in some wrestled hole where he was like, mercy, 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 that's it. All he did was he just, boop, touched his hip socket, bam, that's it. Now it's over. It's all he had to do. But he wrestled with Jacob and probably marveled and knew that the spirit in Jacob was just fiery, like he was not going to give up. And the Lord, just, it amazes me. He went ahead and he wrestled with him. He's like, okay, you want to wrestle? We're going to wrestle. We're going to do this. And finally he figured, okay, this man will not give up. It's daybreak. I just have to put an end to it. This is my take on it. I have to put an end to it because I could just demolish him right here, but I'm wrestling with him. And in this wrestling move that we're doing, for me to be fair with him, he's not going to give up. So I need to pull out the old power, touch him, and wrench his hip. Bless him, because he's not giving up. And so that is my interpretation. There's a little mosquito. And I believe it is true, because I know the Lord can do anything. But the fact that the Lord did wrestle with him is pretty phenomenal. And he wrestled with the Lord. And I'm not going to say that. The chutzpah of him, and the the fight in him to wrestle with God and not give up, and knew that he knew it was God, because he's like, bless me. He knew. You know, when you come in contact with the Lord, you know it. You know when he's present. You know it. There is a feeling you have. You know his presence. He wanted the blessing, and the Lord gave him the blessing. But he wrenched his hip as well. Gave him a little thorn too. And sometimes we're given these things to keep us tied to the Lord, to know who the glory goes to, because if not, we can be boastful in our own strength. Just one touch showed Jacob who was in charge. I'll wrestle with you all night, but it's time. We're done. And in one touch, boom, it's over. So, and sometimes that touch can be anything. It's, like his hip, his limp was going to be with him. His hip was messed up. And then he has to go walk to meet his brother Esau, who he feels is already going to kill him. Now he's got a bum leg. How's he going to run away? So now you really do need to fully lean on the Lord. You're going to have to be like, Lord, I feel like I'm crippled now. I can't run away in my own strength. I have a bum leg, and when I meet him, if he wants to kill me, he will kill me unless you, Lord, bless me. You decide that this is not the way it's going to go, and you come down in all your power and you dictate what's going to happen. Otherwise, and all glory will go to you, not me, because I can't do it on my own. I have a bum leg. I can't survive. I can't run to get away. So the Lord is amazing. The Lord is amazing. And he will always be glorified in my heart, and I hope in everybody's heart that loves him so, because that's our purpose, is to spread the gospel, to glorify the Lord, and know that it is all for him. It is about him. This word is about him and his glory. And he will give us our of success and prosperity and blessings. He gives us with abundant blessings. So it's not like he's like, I need all the glory, like some tyrant Lord. No, he's not. He gives abundant blessings. But we need to remember that it is his glory. It's his glory. Jacob could not run away now. He had a bum leg. He's going to meet his brother who's going to kill him. So that means he needs to really depend on the Lord. He has no strength in his own to dictate the outcome of this. It has to be on the Lord's terms. So we're going to see what happens when Esau comes and meets his brother for the first time in 20 years after he was so deceived from his brother. And I will be back with you for chapter 33. We're moving along. Alrighty.